What was I gonna watch that I didn't watch? What the fuck? My 50 cal exploded?
What's up, everybody? My name is Scott, and I'm gonna tell you about how my 50 cal exploded and I almost bit the dust about 2 weeks ago. So I know a lot of you are probably wanting me to explain my injuries, and I'm gonna do that, but I think it's best we start from the beginning.
Bro, I think you should stop at that point. Like, when this happens, you stop, dude. This is the moment where you stop doing this and do anything else, dude. Okay? What the fuck? 3 levels of psychics? Can you spread? Can you pick the fraud? They're all okay. Newsflash: they're all fraudulent.
I know some of you are gonna try to skip around in this video. I highly recommend you stay tuned and listen to all of this. But for those who are gonna skip around, let me clear something up first. This was not the bear that we torture tested, and this was a complete freak accident. There's nothing that I did to have caused this. So April 9th, 2021, we come out here to shoot a fire hydrant with some slap rounds using my Serbu RN50.
Normal.
So we have the Serbu RN50 with the 36-inch long heavy barrel, and we're gonna go ahead and go big or go home and start out with this. This is a 50 BMG slap tracer round. The slap rounds tend to go a little to the right, so I aimed a little to the left, but this one actually hit true to where I was aiming. We hit right here, and you can see that thing is smoking. And then we blew right through the back of this thing. Everything was going pretty smooth. We shot the fire hydrant several times, but the slap rounds were acting a little funny. One of the slap rounds hit like 1.5 feet low and to the right. I say we hit it with one more slap round, but this time aim for the thickest part of the fire hydrant and see what happens. The gun was functioning normally, as it always has. I've been using this gun for a long time now, and I've never had any issues out of it. So before all this happened, we took one last shot, and it was actually really, really cool. The round was...
Being a gun guy means, like, accidentally almost getting murdered by your gun, and then immediately having to fucking put out a video claiming that the gun is actually great because you don't want to lose sponsorships. No, it was actually great. It was my fault. I fell down the stairs. Guns are still very cool and very good.
Stuck out the back of the fire hydrant. This is a 50 BMG silver red tip armor piercing incendiary tracer. So we went through the top of the fire hydrant. Look at that. Oh my gosh. It's just stuck out the back. After that, I decided I was gonna take one last shot with a slap round and try to hit the thickest spot on the fire hydrant. So before I loaded my last slap round, I know that there was no barrel obstruction because I literally found the round in the fire hydrant. But this last round that I loaded into my Serbu RN50 was a very, very hot round, and I had no idea. And there's really no way for me to have ever known that this round was as hot as it was.
Is there TOS here?
So here you can see me taking the last shell casing out, and now I'm loading in the slap round. I screw the cap on all the way, and the gun closes completely, and everything is functioning as normal. And one thing, is something someone may mention, is maybe I didn't screw the cap on all the way. Well, you can clearly see the cap is screwed on all the way, and this gun actually will not close if the cap...
Did he do this video because, like, gun hobbyists are gonna fucking yell at him for almost dying? No, I did screw it. It's like, I can see, like, gun hobbyists still being like, you probably didn't screw the cap on all the way.
Cap is not screwed on all the way. So everything was functioning good on the gun. What I didn't know was the slap round that I put inside it was extra, extra hot, and I had no idea. And there's really no way for me to have ever known. These rounds are extremely rare, and they're very old. They're like $100 a piece. These aren't manufactured anymore, and really there's no way you can really know what's happened to them over time as they've passed hand to hand. I was under the impression that these were genuine military surplus rounds and hadn't been tampered with. So now I'm gonna actually show you what happened. It's not graphic. All the graphic stuff happened after the fact, and I'm gonna tell you all about that, but I am gonna show you what happened just so you can see what happened to me that day. So when I pulled the trigger, the gun exploded almost immediately. So the first thing that went was this cap. And this cap is solid steel, and it is very, very heavy. If you look right here, the threads are sheared off of this gun completely. I spoke with Mark Serbu, and he said that normal pressures are 55,000 PSI. And for those threads to have sheared off.
How can this guy hear anything? Like, I don't understand. He blew his like hair off, dude. He blew his fucking ear off, like.
And this cap to have just blown off like that, we're looking at over 85,000 PSI. So the cap blows off. It's kind of hard to put these on because of my little nose brace. I'll explain. But safety glasses are on, and this cap, you can see this little crescent here. This cap hit me right there.
Bro, that's why safety is so fucking important. Holy shit, dude. If you didn't have that, it's GG's, no eye, gone.
I'm not really sure which way, probably more like this, but it struck me in the face. When this cap hit me in the face, it broke my orbital bone in 3 spots, here, here, and here. It also broke my nose, and that's why I have this on. I've had to have facial surgery to repair all this. Here's the really bad part though. On this lower, normally there's these 2 ears that stick up right here. And this is what prevents you.
He can now only hear freedom ring, amen. Them bells are ringing in my head, brother. They're bells for freedom.
From closing the gun when the cap's not on all the way. If the cap is on all the way, it will fit perfectly right here with those ears pushed up against it. When the cap blew off the gun, it came straight back, shearing those ears off the lower. One of these is still at the hospital, and this is the one we found. This one zipped right past my head, went inside my hat, blew a hole through it, and took it off my head what appears 7 to 8 feet. Now the other one is what almost ended me. The other ear hit me right here in the throat. It proceeded to lacerate my jugular vein and then punctured a hole in my right lung. As for my hand, my best guess is this is what did it. In the video, you can see that the stock almost disappears instantly. I believe it came in a downward motion and hit my finger. You have your natural bend in your index finger. Well, this bone right here looked like a V. So my finger looked like a big W. So back to the lacerated jugular. I've now been hit in the throat, and I'm not really sure what happened because when this cap hit me in the face, I went blind in my right eye instantly. I have vision coming back now, and they say my eyes should make a full recovery. But in that moment, I went completely blind in this eye, and it was like I had been punched. And I went backwards, and I landed on all 4s. A lot of you wonder who is behind the camera in my videos. This is my dad. His name is also Scott. If he had not been out here with me,
I love this guy. I take back everything I said. I fucking love this dude, bro. This is so funny. It's just like him and his dad. They're just fucking gun guys, man. They just love guns. Motherfucker's out here already. He's out here already shooting videos with guns. I would probably stay away. You know what I mean? I would stay away for a little bit from guns.
That would have been it for me. He come running up and he let me know of my injuries because I was still in a daze. I've just been punched in the face by a big metal cap. And he let me know real quick that there was a hole in my neck and I was losing a lot of blood really fast. My dad shoved his thumb into my neck and said, "Put your thumb there." Now that I'm aware of what's going on, I took my left thumb, I took my shirt, wrapped it in my shirt, and I shoved it as far into my neck as possible. I was not aware that my jugular was lacerated, but I did know this is really bad. I have a law enforcement background, and I've been trained in injuries and wounds and gunshots and things like that. And I know very well that if you get hit in the neck, it's not good because you can't tourniquet a neck. After I had plugged the hole, I applied extreme pressure, pinched my head down into my hand, and made a run for the truck. So the truck here.
Listen, here's a controversial take. Gun YouTube is actually good because it takes cops off the streets and turns them into fucking gun YouTubers. There it is. I said it. Based. Instead of being fucking criminal ass cops on the streets, these motherfuckers are busy shooting their fucking faces off with discontinued military rounds that they think are superior grade. You know what I mean? Better that than that guy fucking running around. Luxury beliefs? What?
Was right near us. There's a trailer attached. I had to run around the front. I jumped in the passenger seat. Dad jumped.
Yeah, that was a funny thing he said too. Thanks to my extensive cop training, I was able to deduce that this hole in my neck was bad. Yeah, that's right. You know, I've been trained to handle medical conditions, and I did an ocular pat down and noticed that, you know, half of my neck skin was hanging down like a goddamn turkey. And I thought to myself, this is probably not good from a health perspective. Thank you, Cash App, for the 69 subs, dude.
And we took off. And this all happened in a matter of seconds. I would say under a minute. We were in that truck and just hauling tail into town. Something I forgot to mention, this upper weighs like 25 pounds. And you can see in the video that it just gets thrown off the table. So much pressure came out the back of this upper that it launched it off the table. It's an insane amount of energy that was thrown into my body. So now we're driving very fast into town. I am applying constant pressure to my throat and I'm breathing very slowly, trying to control my heart rate because the faster your heart rate, the faster you're going to bleed. My dad's driving, so I thought it would be nice of me to call the ambulance. My dad didn't agree with this, but I wanted to do it myself because I wanted to try and stay awake. I needed to be doing something to keep myself conscious. If you have an iPhone, there's this nifty little feature on the side here, and if you hit that button one too many times, it'll call 911. This can be kind of annoying when you're trying to shut off your alarm in the morning, but when there's a lot of bodily fluids on your phone and you can't open it, it comes in really handy. I got on the phone with 911 and I let them know what had happened and that we were coming into town and they were gonna send an ambulance to meet us halfway. There were several times where I thought I was gonna pass out. And I knew if I passed out that that was gonna be it because my dad's driving. If I pass out, who's gonna keep applying pressure to my neck to keep me from bleeding out? Times like this, you really need something to focus on, and I focused on my kids. I had their faces in my brain, and I just focused on them, and I fought as hard as I could. I stayed conscious the entire time. We met the ambulance halfway. They got me loaded up and we took off towards the hospital. And like I said, I know that I was in a bad spot.
It's called the Gary Vaynerchuk technique. Yeah. He was getting super motivated to survive.
And I don't know if you know this, but if your jugular is completely severed, you have 30 seconds. I knew that being hit in the throat, I may not have much time, but the closer we got to the hospital, the more my confidence built, and I thought, hey, maybe I'm gonna be all right. When I was in the ambulance, I asked them to cut my shirt off because I was having trouble breathing, and I thought maybe I'd been hit in the chest as well. They cut my shirt off, there wasn't anything there, but when I got to the hospital, they x-rayed me, and they said my right lung had collapsed because it had filled with blood, and that was from this little guy here puncturing my lung as well. So from there, they had to intubate me while I was wide awake, and I tell you, that is not fun. Take this long metal rod with a point on it.
Hey. Luckily, this fucking happened at a hospital where, you know, there was at least like, you know, ER capabilities. And fucking empty beds. Is he in Kentucky? It says Kentucky Ballistics, so I don't know, man.
On it, and they stick it through your rib cage, and it wasn't fun. After that, I was feeling a little better. I could breathe a little better, and then they wanted me to take my thumb out of my neck, and I was like, "We're not taking my thumb out of my neck. You just wrap it up with some tape and stay there." But they told me I had to take my thumb out of my neck, so they had a bunch of gauze and packing, and as soon as I pulled it out, they packed my throat. When I pulled my thumb out, that's when I saw my finger, and they said that I audibly said, "Oh, that's not good," because my finger looked like a big W. They informed me after that they were gonna have to life flight me to Vanderbilt Hospital in Nashville, Tennessee. Very, very good hospital with very, very good doctors. Obviously, I'm here making this video. Big shout out to Vanderbilt Hospital. You guys are the best.
Imagine if this dude died because some fucker took ivermectin. I mean, it wouldn't be surprising.
So now they're about to knock me out. And at this moment, I realized that this may be the last time that I see my wife or see my dad, because once they knock you out, you know.
Funny how your opinion on Trump coincides with that of a hyena with a slick top bag hat and a long dong. Dude, what the fuck was that, dude? Did you have an aneurysm? What?
That's it. Either they're gonna fix you or you're not waking up. My wife had arrived. I called her in there. I held her hand, and we had words. And then I called my dad in to pray. And after that, I remember waking up in Vanderbilt Hospital, hooked up to every machine possible. I'm gonna throw some pictures in here. So they did a number on me. So you can see this cut here, and this actually goes all the way down to right here. To repair my jugular and my lung, they had to open up my chest completely.
Dude, you could put a fucking lav mic up in that hole, dude. It's crazy. You could just hold that thing up on its own.
They cut me completely open, just like open heart surgery. They told me a guy my size should hold 6 to 8 units of blood, and total, from all the blood I lost from the initial injury and the surgeries, they had to give me 5 units. There was also a there was also a chance that I could have.
Are you eating right now? I'm eating meat, dude. I don't give a fuck. Because I'm not a fucking hypocrite, that's why. That's right, dude. Yeah, vegans know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I can listen to a dude tell like his horrific story. Because that's how fucking hogs are slaughtered too. Right, vegans? Vegans know what I'm saying, dude. At least I'm honest with my carnous ways.
Had a stroke. To repair your jugular vein, they have to pinch it off. Well, your jugular vein supplies the oxygenated blood to your brain. So they can only pinch it off for so long. They pinch it off, they repair it, but then after that, when they open it back up, all that blood rushes into your brain and there's a chance you could have a stroke. Praise God, I did not have a stroke as well. As for my hand and my face, they had to do surgery on that as well. I have pins in my finger to hold it in place. And like I said, they had to repair my orbital bone in 3 spots. As you can see, they cut me here and right here. And they also cut inside my mouth, all the way back here to the front to be able to get to all of those spots. So I had a breathing tube in, but I still wanted to talk. I wanted to know what had happened to me and what was going to happen. Well, my nurse, Cody, shout out to that guy, best nurse ever, brought me a dry erase board so that I could write and ask questions. I wanted to talk to my wife. Well, he would call her for me, and then I would write out what I wanted to say, and he would say it over the phone for me, and then I could sit there and talk to my wife. Also, I really wanted a Mellow Yellow. I was craving it so bad. When I was finally unhooked from everything, I remember sitting in my room, and he peeked his head in. He was like, "Can you eat and drink now?" I said, "Yeah." And he handed me a Mellow Yellow. Coolest nurse ever. So for about 2 days, I had tubes coming out of the front of my chest, 1 tube coming out of my right side, and 1 tube coming out from behind my collarbone to drain everything around my lungs. And I had to carry this little vacuum pack with me. They removed those really quick. I'm healing extremely fast. They kicked me out of trauma within a few days. This happened on April 9th, which is a Friday. I went home the following Saturday. There is a lot more to this story when it comes to my injuries and everything that I had to do to overcome them. Long story short, I shouldn't be standing here. I should be 6 foot under, and if it wasn't—
This man was almost killed by a gun and is still an ultra gun nut. Gotta respect it. Dude. That's like pure unadulterated American mentality right there. Like, this guy would rather die than fucking admit that guns are dangerous, okay? This is from 7 days ago.
It up for you?
Yeah, thank
you. Let her rip.
All right, let's do it. Actually, let's do a armor penetrating round on this one.
Oh, okay. Well, I can.
Yeah,
no, wait.
Hey, is that a slap round? It looks really old.
All right, G, you ready to go?
Yeah.
Loaded it up for you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. I'm a Bernie bro and a gun nut. I feel like as long as your country has the resources to track, monitor, and train the public on how to use firearms, no weapon should be out of the reach of the citizens. Okay, dude. I mean, I agree with like the first part. I think that guns should be heavily regulated and everyone should get the proper training to be and demonstrate that they are capable of using it appropriately and, you know, demonstrate proper gun safety, all that. But no weapon should be out of the reach. Like, what do you want? A fucking Stinger missile, dude? You want... No weapon should be out of the reach of civilians. And yes, that includes rocket-propelled grenades, baby.
And for God, I wouldn't be talking to you right now.
50 cal is too much, sorry. It's not, though, because... Like, the real take is that shit is so expensive that, like, that's not going to be... Like, no one who's, like, going to use that for assassin... It's not easy to use, and it's incredibly expensive, and they're rare. So I don't give a fuck about people that buy 50 cals. Like, they're nuts. Like, they're just... They're literally nuts. It's not practical for murdering multiple people without extensive training. Does that make sense? Whereas an AR-15 is like literally just so easy to use, very low recoil, incredibly effective at, like, you know, hitting multiple targets.
Hasan, come out. Show the people. You look like the slow kid in a phys ed class, dude. You look like you're about to get destroyed in dodgeball.